Lake Winnipesaukee is the largest water body in New Hampshire, but most of its 288 miles of shoreline are privately owned, which means there aren't many places for the boating and paddling public to go ashore. One exception is Ragged Island, which is owned and managed by the Lakes Region Conservation Trust. In 2022, I got a tour of the 11-acre island with Pat Tarpey of the Lake Winnipesaukee Association, a nonprofit dedicated to protecting the lake's water quality and natural resources. I met Tarpey at Harilla Landing in Moultonborough, where we launched a pair of kayaks and set a course for Ragged, roughly 1 mile south.
So Pat, tell me about the Lake Winnipesaukee Association.
So we are the local lake association dedicated to keeping this water clean and healthy so that people can continue to enjoy it, you know, tomorrow and the future generations as much as we do today.
That's as much as we're doing right now.
Right.
So Pat, how do you go about keeping this huge lake clean?
We do it a number of ways. So through monitoring, we actually collect lake samples to tell us how the lake's doing, education programs, and then science and restoration projects. So a lot of education is just trying to get people to understand the whole land use water quality connection, that what they do on the land is really impacts this lake. So for example, this summer we were doing a Be Winnie Blue and Lake Smart program where we visited homeowners, walked their properties and gave them recommendations and improvements they could make to reduce stormwater runoff.
Right, and what are some improvements a homeowner could make?
Increasing, say, a vegetation buffer along the lake. You know, the biggest issue is stormwater runoff and all the nutrients and sediment that carries. So phosphorus is the limiting nutrient for freshwater systems, and so for this lake, any additional phosphorus can result in algal blooms and cyanobacteria.
How is the water quality faring in recent years?
Overall, we saw a huge increase in, say, phosphorus levels the last 20 years. It looks like it's starting to level off.
While most of Winnipesaukee shoreline is privately held, Ragged is a noteworthy exception. The 11-acre island is one of 5 public islands on Winnie managed by the Lakes Region Conservation Trust. Paddlers are welcome to beach their craft along Ragged's 2 sandy beaches, while powerboaters and sailors can tie up at one of the docks on the southern end. 2 of the docks were once covered by a boathouse used by Ragged's former owners, renowned composer and conductor Wheeler Becket and his wife Jane. The couple purchased the island in 1936 and summered there until 1978, when Wheeler deeded the property to a youth education group. The Beckets lived in the cottage that still stands on the southern tip of the island, and which now serves as a venue for natural history presentations and group outings.
So probably about 20 years ago, I was tired of my job, wanted a career change, and believe it or not, I joined AmeriCorps. And so, no money, but started working for the Belknap County Conservation District and had wanted to get into environmental stuff, and through that got connected with Lake Winnipesaukee Association. So I've worked off and on for 20 years for them, and now in my current position for 10. You know, I moved up here 30 years ago. I didn't necessarily want to come to New Hampshire, but after a while I fell in love with it and fell in love with this lake. It's just absolutely beautiful, and it deserves protecting, and it needs protecting.